Hello and welcome to episode 15 of One Game at a Time. Here I'm from a remote location in Melbourne, not in South Australia for once, but happy to be joined by two blokes who are back in the homeland. David Grant, how are you doing, David?
I am good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, you're right, you're a bit close there.
Oh, so I am. Hang on a second. I'm just not very tech savvy. There we go. That's much
There we
better.
go.
How are you? Had a good week?
Yes, it's been all right so far. Also, and also joined by Mark Talbot. Mark, how are you this week?
I'm as well as can be. How are you, mate? Enjoying Melbourne?
Yeah, it's definitely different to back home. Yeah, there's not too much I can really say. I guess it's a city to put it simply, but definitely can't wait to get back home. Especially missing the football this weekend, a little bit hard, but it'll be all right as we can talk about it more now. We'll start as always with our picks of the week. David, we'll start with you tonight. What do you got for us?
So I've written an article now on that George Best, the history of George Best's time in Australia, which I've been banging on about for a couple of weeks, and my apologies for going on and on about it. But I had been talking to the author. We were trying to work out where Best had played his last ever competitive match, and it turns out it was while he was in Australia on one of his tours in 1983. He'd gone over to Western Australia and had played a match over there for a team named Osborne Park Caleb, who are no longer with us. The club's defunct. They were a Yugoslav social team. And anyway, cutting a long story short, I managed to track down a yearbook that had the address of their ground, which was 59 Jones Street in Osborne Park in Perth. And the ground was behind what is now a bunch of houses. So we need to get over there and put a plaque on one of those doors to say, on this spot, did George Best play his last ever competitive match and score his last goal for league points? So there you go, a little bit of history. And don't you just love Google Street View when you've got the guy in the corner?
Can you just get him to hold the sign? That's the way to do it. Just
That could have been George Best. And then the other thing I was going to mention was obviously the news locally here is I won't use the word sacking, I'll use the word moving on of Travis Dodd from Croydon. Croydon FC released a statement on social media announcing that they'd parted ways with him, and Ian Fife has been appointed the head coach for the second half of the 2024 season. So that's the big news locally, I suppose, in the NPL. And that's my second pick of the week.
Greedy this time around. I think we'll go to another man who's a bit greedy and has got two as well, Mark.
I do have two this week. The first one is actually for a lad that's played a lot of NPL here in Adelaide. He's moved to London. He's now working over in London. Sam Carmichael, who I think last played for Cumberland and Olympic. He's played at South. He's played at a few clubs, but great player in his day. He's moved to London, and I know it doesn't sound like much, but he's now working as a community hub officer at West Ham. So he's involved with the Bobby Moore Academy there now as a coach and mentor. So massive news for Sam. I think that's brilliant that he's able to get into a role like that, because once you get into a role like that in an academy, you can then progress within the academy. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he continues that path and then becomes a coach in the future and continues that path with West Ham, which would be fantastic if we can get more coaches into the game that way. And the other one I wanted to shout out this week is Robbie Lippert. We all know Robbie Lippert's played many games across his career for Cumberland, Raiders, Modbury. He is running 80 kilometres for 80,000 to raise money for child dementia. So he's effectively running from Victor Harbour to Glenelg, I think it is, in one go. So it's a massive feat. So it's on all the socials. So if you get a chance, jump on and have a look, and he'll take you through. He's taking you through the whole process and what he's having to do this. And if anyone knows Robbie, he hates running, does not like it at all. But he's not sure why he chose to do this, but amazing cause, amazing effort. But yeah, so if you want to have a look, by all means, jump on. It's Run Robbie Run, and if you can donate to him as well, obviously that'd be great. But massive shout out to Robbie for doing something that's going to test him mentally and physically.
Yeah, well done.
I was going to say, I did just under 20,000 steps yesterday and my ankles are hurting, so I don't know how I'd even cope with that. My turn now, I guess. Speaking of Melbourne, I can connect it back to home. Watched NPL side South Melbourne play Preston Lions in Australia Cup match, also for the Doherty Cup here in Melbourne. And the crowd is just nothing I've ever seen before, really. It was quite incredible to hear the noise and be a part of the crowd. It was a good game too. Ended 5-2 in the end, and Preston had a late goal, had a red card. South Melbourne were better, not a great free kick at the end of the match. Just under, I think I saw 8,000 people were at BT Con Reserve, including myself, and it just doesn't compare to back home, really. I don't think, and just trying to think about even like a Adelaide Croatia beer grad. That's probably, would you guys agree, probably one of our biggest games, one of our biggest derbies in South Australia?
At the present moment, yes.
Yeah.
However, if you go back to finals in the early 2000s, I mean, we pulled big crowds, and I remember being at what was then Highmarsh. It was a Mobbery final one year, and I reckon Robbie Matosevic, Jason Trimboli were playing at the time, and that would have pulled probably. I reckon that was probably 5 or 6, maybe even 8,000. But that was the GF. So not even, and it wasn't even a derby. It was just the grand final, and that's, to be honest, I reckon I haven't seen crowds like that for many. Well, haven't seen crowds like that since. So that's a massive crowd for a game of that magnitude in Melbourne. That's massive. I don't think we'd pull that here for a game like that in Adelaide.
Especially considering these are two teams that will be future national second division teams as it stands. So these are two sides who will be a part of that division, have this game at least twice a year. Yeah, it's crazy.
I did go to a couple of old NSL games when Adelaide City and West Adelaide were in the same national competition. But to be honest, and I lived in Melbourne in the 90s as well. I went to a couple of matches there. I remember going to South Melbourne and Melbourne Knights, and that was a big. There was a big atmosphere at that. There wasn't as big a crowd as there'd been at West Adelaide and Adelaide City at the time, as I remember. But the atmosphere was greater than the as I recall, between Adelaide City and West Adelaide.
And I think it was just the pure density of the crowd as well. There was the broadcast side was blocked off to keep the South Melbourne and Preston fans from mingling for reasons. But even with that, I spent the first half behind the left goal of broadcast side, and then the second half moved was squashed into right at the back of the shed. And the noise it created just within that little environment towards the end of the game was headache-inducing, I have to say. I had to pick up some Panadol on the way back. But, yeah, it was more just... I knew it was going to be a big game, but it was more the shock that when you got there, had to walk a fair bit. It was, the cars were lined up, they were packed. The lineup just to get into the ground was huge. We couldn't even find the ground to begin with. Felt like we were in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, just incredible, really. I don't know what else, if you boys want to add anything else onto this, but just sort of, yeah, it was a great experience for myself.
All I can say is we can only hope to get there.
Absolutely.
I would just add that I watched it on the television, as in the computer monitor, and I thought the guys that did the commentary did a really good job. I don't know if you heard any of them.
Yeah, so that's Lockie Flanagan and Josh Parrish. I spoke to Lockie after the game, met with him after. And just even he said like it's not a normal occurrence for that game, even though Preston do get that many. So even for him, it was quite like a shock to the system for that many people to be around. But yeah, I did hear little bits and pieces of it.
Yeah,
But,
good.
Yeah, very, very good. Very happy to have attended that one. Probably more entertaining than the Tottenham-Newcastle game last night, to be completely honest. More atmosphere too.
So it wouldn't have been hard.
On to our look back at the past week results. Of course, we did mix the week before, so apologies for that. Our schedules were a bit busy, but this week, managing to do this past week, I'm sure Alessio was happy to miss out last week. We couldn't not mention that this week after the result. We won't mention the result, but he knows, and that's all that matters. Starting with round 11 of State League 2, Eastern United 4-2 winners over Gawler Eagles. Adelaide University 2-1 over Cove. Noarlunga 3-0 over the Hills Hawks. Seaford Rangers lose 1-0 at home to Northern Demons in that distance derby. Mount Barker lose 3-0 to Port Adelaide Pirates. And Modbury Vista at home come down 4-2 to Pontian Eagles. Any ones that pique your boys' interest?
Do you want to start, David, or do you want me to go for one?
Yeah, you go for it.
All right, done. Look, there's a couple for me that did stand out. The Uni game and Cove game, obviously. Adelaide Uni 2-1 winners over Cove. Cove now dropped down to third in the league. But the big thing is Adelaide Uni, that's 11 straight wins. They've beaten every team they've come up against in the league. Now that obviously we've played the whole first half of the season. So that's massive results there for Adelaide Uni. So they're on course to obviously get promoted. So Stubbins down there's doing an amazing job. Got a great team of boys there, and they're all obviously pulling in the same direction. But to go through the whole first half of the season, not only undefeated, but to win all 11, I'm not sure if that's ever been done in local leagues. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't go back that far, but amazing result. What else? Eastern over Gawler. Eastern starting to come good. It's taken them a while. I mean, they did only play Gawler, and I shouldn't say it like that, but that's a good result for Eastern. Gawler now, I think, second bottom, really struggling, and they need something to happen up there at Gawler. And I think I'll pick up the other games. See the distance derby, Seaford and Demons. I think Demons did really well to get a result out of this, knowing they had the cup game midweek, so great result for them. But yeah, and I'll leave the rest for David to pick up.
Oh, look, the only other one I was going to add to that was the Modbury Vista Pontian Eagles game. Vista dropping points there to Pontian Eagles, who are second. And with Cove losing out as well, as you mentioned before, that just puts a little bit of a buffer, not only between Adelaide Uni, who are starting to run away with it, but also Pontian Eagles. They now have a 4-point gap between them in second and Cove in third, and Modbury Vista. I think those two teams, Modbury Vista and Cove, I think they were games they really, I mean, every week's a must-win game, or is considered a must-win game, but really for those two, their two games, the games that they lost there are the two games that have just put a little bit more distance between themselves and first and second. Now, can you remind me what happens at the end? I know we have final series and all of that, but is it 1 and 2 go up automatically?
No, just one.
Just one. Yeah, okay. Yep. So, well, Adelaide Uni are well on track for that, aren't they?
Yeah. Look, we didn't cover them, but I will cover both the other two. There's only two games left, so I'll cover them quickly. Noarlunga, a 3-0 win against Adelaide Hills Hawks, I think it was, or Mount Barker. So not a great run there for Mount Barker. That's 12 goals in 2 games for them. I think
I think Noarlunga was Hills Hawks.
Hills, okay.
I think one of the results carries a lot of those 12 goals.
Yes. So no, you're right. So it was Port, and so it was Noarlunga, but that's put Noarlunga into finals position now. And a lot of people, including myself, had them a lot lower. They just are just grinding out, picking up results here and there each week. Their form's a little bit inconsistent, but hey, they're picking up points when they need to. And the other one was Port Adelaide against Mount Barker. Kaka Dembele scoring again for Port Adelaide, seems to be in some red hot form, and they've managed to two losses on the trot, so that's a big win for them going into what will be a big game this weekend for them. So, but the ladder's looking. I mean, it's Adelaide Uni runaway at the moment. Pontian's in second with a 4-point gap over Cove. But once you get down to 5, you've got 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, all on 16 points. So 4 teams are going to be fighting out for those 2 spots in the finals. So it's probably quite an interesting league.
Absolutely, and of course, this coming weekend, the fixtures start to reverse from the start of the season. So it'll be very interesting to see how those reversed legs go. Round 8 of the WSL, Western Strikers 2-0 losers to Adelaide Jaguars. Cove winning 3-1 over Fulham United. Elizabeth Grove 2-0 over South Adelaide. Modbury Vista 29-1 versus Croydon FC. And Modbury Jets losing 4-0 at Smith Partners Stadium to Campbelltown City. Once again, any there that pique your interest?
What round did you say we're at? Round 8.
8.
So,
Your turn, David.
I'll just briefly say that my new best mate Ben Dale down at South Adelaide, 2-0 loss. I had high hopes for them. They'd won 2 in a row, and I know they were going into playing an Elizabeth Grove team that were sitting second or third in the table at the time, and I was kind of hoping that South Adelaide might have got something out of that, but they unfortunately didn't. So they went down 2-0, and Cove, sitting in 7th, picked up a 3-1 win against Fulham, who are second bottom, right enough. But that they were the only side in that bottom half of the table that had a win this week.
Yeah, well, we certainly didn't think Croydon would get a win at all. So, I mean, they conceded 29 this week. You've got to. I cannot praise the Croydon team enough for the fact that they keep showing up and keep getting out in that park when it's not looking good for them at all. So hats off to the Croydon team that can keep rocking up. But I think the Federation also need to do something. I don't know what they can do, but something needs to be done because this is getting ridiculous now, unfortunately, for Croydon. And to be honest, for the league as well, when you can see 29 goals in one game, they'd be close to 150 conceded in total now. Sorry?
Yeah, 164.
164. So, yes, you've got to draw the line somewhere, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens. Unfortunately for Ben, a good friend of ours, Dave, didn't get the result, but Campbelltown just continuing on their merry way. They're sort of becoming the Adelaide Uni of the WSL, really. They've 8 from 8, haven't lost, haven't drawn. So it's proving to be Campbelltown's to lose, effectively.
They've certainly got enough points ahead of third place, haven't they? I mean, Elizabeth Grove have only got 39 points, but they're still only 4 clear of Modbury Vista in second, so there's just a 4-point gap. I'm not sure when they play each other, but that'll be a massive game, won't it, when it comes round, Campbelltown and Modbury Vista?
It will be, that's for sure.
Absolutely. On to round 11 of the Men's State League 1. Playford 4-0 winners over Western Strikers. Adelaide victory at home, losing 2-1 to West Adelaide. Fulham United 2-0 losers to Salisbury United at West Beach. Adelaide Blue Eagles losing 3-1 to Cumberland United at Marden. Sturt Lions 3-2 winners over Adelaide Ammonia Cobras. And Vipers 4-2 over West Torrens Burkalla. Some very interesting results, not just this week, but I think the past few weeks throughout State League 1.
Yeah, you never. The only thing you can expect from, to be honest, all the leagues is you just got to expect the unexpected, because we just don't know what's going to happen, what players are going to rock up, what players are going to perform, and those that are going to be off the boil a little bit for that week. Vipers are in some great form at the moment, so coming up against Bacala, who are top, well, not top, but in that top echelon of the league, I would have thought that would have been a bit closer. I saw the goals and some good goals there from Vipers. I think they really couldn't deal with the winger for Vipers. Balambo scored a hat-trick. They really didn't know how to deal with him, so he had an absolute blinder of a game. And also, the other thing with that was Vipers went down to 10 men at halftime as well. So, huge result for Vipers. The other game I'll pick up with is the Sturt Lion and Adelaide Cobras game. A 94th minute winner for Sturt, coming from 2-0 down. So Cobras will be feel very hard done by they've thrown that one away, thrown effectively 3 points down the drain there. And with that, it brings Sturt level with Croydon now on 13 points. So, it's again. I mean, we did the tips for it the week before, and you just can't pick them these days. It's proving harder and harder to pick them. And I think I'll touch on the last one, which is Playford and Western Strikers. It was I think a game everyone would expect Playford to win, and they did so quite convincingly. And Poundendis getting on the score sheet yet again. So he's proven to be an absolute handful in State League One and a great pickup for Playford.
Yeah, I would agree with you on all of them, Mark. Well done. I think you've covered it very well.
I left some games for you.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, there's still the Blue Eagles game, Salisbury game, and the Victory game. I thought, I'll leave you with a few to talk about. I don't want to take up all of them.
No, I'm happy for you to talk. It's fine. I mean, the start one was the one that grabbed my attention, but you've covered that one. I mean, that's a great result for them, and it takes them out of that relegation as well. Adelaide Blue Eagles. For me, I just wonder if maybe they're a little bit shaky now. They started so well, and it looked like they were going to do an Adelaide Uni and run away with this division, but they lost 4 weeks ago, and they've lost this week, and that was Salisbury United they lost to, and then this week they've slipped up against Cumberland United. And had they not slipped up in those two games, they would still have a few point buffer. They'd be 2 or 3 points ahead of Playford. But I just wonder if this shaky nail they're on is going to come entirely loose. And who knows? It'll be interesting to see where they are just in maybe 3 or 4 weeks' time to see if they're still in second or they've gone the opposite way and continued to decline. So Adelaide Blue Eagles. What was the other one you said, Mark? Because they were the only two games I was thinking of.
There was Victory in West Adelaide. So Victory have lost. They lost. That's 5. Might be more than 5 straight, but up on here showing 5 games that they've lost now on the trot.
Yeah. No, I hadn't looked at those ones, so we'll move on, Sebby.
I think who was the other game? There's only one other game left.
Salisbury beat Fulham 2-0.
So that's a massive result for Salisbury. Yeah. It really is. That is a massive win, coming off because they lost the Salisbury away from home. You don't expect them to do as well. Like they've made their home a real hard place for teams to come. So away from home, you wouldn't expect it to be as easy to get as many results. But away from home, great result against Alessio's favourite team in Fulham, or second favourite team. You've got to count for Mount Barker, obviously. But that's I mean, they're in a bit of they won, they drew the week before, and then they lost the week before that. So they're sitting well. But again, with the league, now that we've gone through it all, the league itself, Playford sitting top, 1 point clear now, Blue Eagles. But there's a clear gap. There's 5 points between second and third. And then Fulham in fifth on 17. And then that's when the other teams start to group. And you've got Salisbury, West Adelaide, Cobras, Sturt, Vipers, and Western Strikers. So 12 to 14 points from 6th to 11th. So effectively, Western Strikers now have dropped down into the relegation zone, but Victory, a lot of trouble, 7 points and 5 points behind 11th, and 2 games effectively behind Sturt, who are 10th. So Victory need to get some results, otherwise they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
They've got Blue Eagles next as well.
They do, yeah. And Blue Eagles will be out to cause some grief this week, especially after last week.
Yeah.
On to round 8 of the Women's National Premier League in South Australia. Salisbury into 1-0 winners over Metro United. Sturt Lions losing 4-0 to West Adelaide. Adelaide Uni a 1-0 draw against Football SA and TC. Comets beating Adelaide City 2-0 at Adelaide City Park. And Flinders United at the Athletic Stadium. A big game and a big scoreline, 3-2 over West Torrens Burkalla. We're starting to see some of the A-League women's players come back. Saw Emily Condon sign for Inter today. Chelsea Dorber has gone to Adelaide City. Isabel Hodgson, Dylan Holmes at West Torrens Bocala. So a few of these teams getting those big appointments, but teams like Flinders who don't have that still managing to beat a side like West Torrens Bocala, who themselves have had quite a surprising season, is quite interesting.
Yeah, the Burculla game was a surprise result for me. I guess I kind of thought Flinders might have won that. We didn't do tips the other week, but I was a little bit surprised, I suppose, to see that one come in, and that's made a bit of a dent in Burculla's hopes to keep in touch with the top two, because West Adelaide and Adelaide Comets, who both won at the weekend, have stretched the gap between first and second down to third and fourth to 6 points. So good win. I mean, West Adelaide had Sturt Lions, who've been struggling this year, and Comets saw off Adelaide City, who have also been struggling a little bit this year. Mark.
Thanks for that. All right, bear with me.
Sorry, I dropped you right in it there. Yeah, but
no. I'm just trying to get my the ladder up as well. It's just taking its time. Yes, right, here we go. Yes, okay. So, what did I make of that week? Flinders massive win for them over Bacala, as you said, David. Adelaide City, they've got back Dorber. Is it they picked up Dorber this week or last week?
Yeah.
So massive in. Unfortunately, obviously couldn't do much against the Comets. But I think Chrissy Panagaris was possibly playing, or so she missed as well. I think she played. So you've got her back as well for Comets, which is a massive in for Comets because she's a fantastic player. I mean, obviously that's why she's was with Adelaide United, but huge in for Adelaide City. Hopefully Dorber can help with that turnaround, and Adelaide City can turn it around because they have been struggling. Salisbury Inter, obviously, they've also just signed in two new players as well. Have come back from the UK in Nicole Calder and
Emily Condon and Zoe Toland as well was signed.
Yeah, so expect them to have a really good turnaround once those players settle back in. So watch out for Salisbury Inter now, and they've been on the incline already. So just adding those players in will make a massive difference. Adelaide Uni, I think a good result for them in a draw. It does keep them a little bit closer to Adelaide City with only 2 points now. They've got a tough game coming up against Comets though, but I think the not surprise, but the great result was the Flinders result. I think that just really affected. We say it every week, 6-pointer here and there, but that was a real 6-pointer for Flinders because that puts them only 1 point now behind Bacala in third. So massive result for Flinders United there.
Hey Seb, I'd completely forgotten that we covered two of these games at the weekend.
I was about to say, it was about a week ago now.
Because we went to do Salisbury Inter and Metro United, and then we had a 15-minute break between that ending and the next one starting, which was NTC and
Uni.
And we glanced at each other at the full-time whistle for the first game, and I called my wife and you called your father, and they both advised that staying on was okay. So we ended up doing 2 games, and I'd completely forgotten about it until you brought the highlights. Is that only 6 days ago?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I know. Everything. I feel like we're talking about rounds that happened weeks ago at the moment, but nonetheless. On to round 11 of the men's MPL, starting with Para Hills 3-0 winners over South Adelaide at the Paddocks. Modbury Jets losing 1-0 to Campbelltown City at Smith Partners Stadium. Adelaide United 2-0 losers to Adelaide Croatia Raiders. Metro Stars 2-2 against Adelaide Comets. Adelaide Olympic had an early goal through Marco Toriani, but ended up losing 6-1 to Adelaide City. And then Croydon at Regency Park 2-0 up to then go 3-2 down in the end to FK Beograd. Some great games happened across that weekend.
Can you remind me which one I was at?
You were at Adelaide United versus Adelaide Croatia.
You go first. No, you go first because you can talk about that one. If you remember it.
No. I guess the main one is the Modbury one, but you cover that one, Mark, won't you? Which?
I'll
Oh
just
yes.
cover whichever,
So, okay.
whichever ones you
Well, the one
don't. I'll
that's come
jump
up.
on. It's all good.
Okay, so the one that's come up on screen just now is Adelaide United and Croatia Raiders. So an early penalty here, which was converted by Kimishima on the 17th minute. And this was a game I did with Antonis. It's all coming back to me now, of course. And then, Callum Campbell finished in the second half from a tight angle there. It was a very entertaining game, very open, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. The loss for Adelaide Uni is... it's the third game in a row they haven't won, so they've dropped a few points over the last few weeks. And it was a good win for Adelaide Croatia because it's taken them up to fifth. And it's also the 3 points that they got there has created a bit of a buffer between them and fifth, and Para Hills Knights down in sixth. So there's a 4 point buffer there. For me, Croatia Raider did well enough in front of goal, and I think that was the difference between the two teams. They were quite evenly matched sides, but Adelaide United just didn't take their chances in front of goal. I think they hit the bar 2 or 3 times, hit the post, and it just didn't work for them up front. So that was the difference between the two teams for me. Do you want me to do another one, or Mark?
By all means, mate. If you want to jump on another one, go for it.
Well, the only other one's the obvious one, the one up front. I was going to talk about the one up top and Modbury Jets slipping up. Losing 1-0 to Campbelltown. Jake Halliday, I think it was, wasn't it? In about the 15th minute or thereabouts.
Yeah,
12th minute. Okay, I wasn't far off, and at least I remember it. So a huge result really for Campbelltown and for the league. It really makes you sit up, pay attention, because those top 3 sides now are just 2 points apart from each other, and big result in that league. Mark.
All right, I'll jump on to the other ones there. So I tuned into the FK Beergrad Croydon game. Croydon take a 2-0 lead with Klimek missing a penalty, then scoring a beautiful little dink over the keeper. Only a few minutes later, there's the beautiful lob. 2-0 up. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold it. FK Beergrad came and stole thunder and scored late in the game to make it 3-2. Great touch there from Visser, actually. A beautiful touch to go around the keeper. But yeah, so massive result for FK Beergrad there. And I'll talk about that in a second as to why. But here is Michael Jakobsen goal. Got them on their way at 73rd minute. And then young Mayo, who's come across from, can't remember where he's come from, but joined Croydon recently with a nice little finish here. And then Berich with a late winner. So that's not Berich, that's Mayo.
I can't believe who would make that mistake. I can't believe that.
I don't know, Seb. Geez, they need to sort themselves out, mate.
Honestly, yeah. I think whoever did it was already on holiday.
Probably, yeah. Probably going to Melbourne or something like that. So massive result for FK Beergrad. The other game, Adelaide Olympic 1-0 up over Adelaide City, then losing their way and losing 6-1. However, a caveat on that is that Olympic did go down to 10 men at 2-1. And then City scored straight after that sending off. Within 2 minutes of the sending off, City went and scored again to make it 3-1. And I think that the sending off and then the goal so shortly after that really just destroyed Olympic. And I think that's in the end. I mean, there's no excuse to lose 6-1, but then I think that's played a big part in that loss for Olympic, and the fact that they played midweek as well had a good result against Northern Demons in the Cup. So yeah, I'd expect Olympic to bounce back, but we'll see how we go with City. I'm not sure about yet. The other game, Metro Stars Adelaide Comets 2-2 draw. Mistake from the Metro defence gifted Jaden Labasso the equaliser late on after also going down to 10 men. Absolute outstanding ball there from Ren Nagamatsu, who's not only scoring goals this year, but he's creating them as well. He's been an absolute key for Metro, along with the likes of Chittadini. And this player here, Garuccio, been fantastic for Comets. But that's for me, a big slip there, I think, from Metro's point of view, in the fact that they were 2-1 up and Comets were down to 10 men, and they've managed to effectively snatch a draw out of the hands of victory for Comets. And this is the sending off here, kick out from Andajanto. For Comets, great result considering they were down to 10 men for 30 minutes of the game. And yeah, like I said, Jaden Labasso popping up to score in what was a mix-up here between defender and goalkeeper and defender. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this week pans out. The reason also, obviously, I was talking about the 6-pointer for FK Beergrad. If Beergrad didn't win that 11 points, it will keep him down with Olympic at in 10th spot. But because of that, they've jumped to 7th and only 1 point behind Power Hills in 6th. So Croydon now 12 points there. I'm a little bit worried for Croydon. They've changed coach mid-year. They're going to hope for new manager bounce. Who knows how that's going to play out. And I think the other one is obviously Power Hills beat South Adelaide, and I think South Adelaide now are in some real trouble. 5 points. 5 points away from Adelaide City in 11th. So they've got a lot of work to do, and they're battling each other this Friday night, which, David, I think you're on.
I am, yep. Looking forward to that.
So, with your best mate, your new best mate, is that right?
My new best friend,
Awesome.
my new football friend.
I love it. I love it. I'll be tuning in. But that's a massive game, this one. So it is a real massive game.
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, it's interesting to hear your comment on Adelaide City and maybe what's the word? Thinking that maybe that Adelaide City's win. I know 6-1's a massive scoreline, and I get what you're saying about they scored immediately after a player being sent off and so on, and then maybe Olympic just fell off the pace or lost interest or whatever it was. But I still think that's a massive result for Adelaide City going into this game against South Adelaide this weekend, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens if City just carry that result into that game and batter South Adelaide. And I think they've hit the nail on the head as well. And I think South Adelaide are now, especially if they lose this game, probably too far off the pack now to recover, and maybe their season is done, even though we're only halfway through it, unfortunately.
On to our predictions now to this upcoming weekend, starting with round 12 of State League 2. This is always the fun part. Starting with probably one of the bigger games throughout all the leagues this weekend, the Hills Derby between Mount Barker United and Adelaide Hills Hawks. I don't want to go first.
Just hang on a second.
Go on, David.
Yeah. No, you go, Mark. I think you're going to ask the same question I'm going to ask.
What I do? Did I stuff up?
No, I was going to say, is anyone writing it down, or are we just going to rely on Alessio listening in tomorrow to record who we're actually picking? And I'm going with the latter.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
So Alessio, tune in and make sure you get the tips for us, buddy.
Yes, so starting with the Hills Derby in State League 2. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I'm happy to go first. I don't normally, so I'm going to go with Mount Barker win.
Scoreline?
I'm finally going to jump on the... it's going to be 2-1 to Mount Barker, and I'm finally going to give them some dues because I don't normally pick them. I normally pick them to lose every week. Adelaide Hills are in a little bit of a funk. They've also lost their coach. The newly appointed coach only lasted a couple of weeks. Don't know the story. I haven't asked. David might have more info. I'm not dobbing you in there, David, but you might have. I don't know anyone up there apart from Alessio, so that I could ask for that info. But yeah, look, Mount Barker. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with Mount Barker on this one.
I have got some inside information, but I got it from a drunk man in a pub, so I'll hold off on it. Just
so were you talking to yourself in the mirror, or you're all right? That wasn't me.
This was a really hard one to pick, but I tell you, I'm actually going to go for an Adelaide Hills Hawks win in this one. And I say that because I went along and watched the Hills Hawks play Adelaide Uni 2 or 3 weeks ago on a Saturday afternoon, and I thought the Hawks did okay against Adelaide Uni. It only ended up 3-0, and Adelaide Uni, I went along thinking I'd be sitting there watching a goal every 3 or 4 minutes, and it wasn't the case. And I thought the Hawks actually defended very well against a top of the table side. So I don't think the Hills Hawks will concede to Mount Barker, who they score, but they don't score often enough for me. So I'm going to go for an Adelaide Hills Hawks win, but it'll be another, like the first round, it'll just be a 1-0 win with Elliott scoring a scrappy goal from a yard out and with 2 minutes to go.
It's funny you say that, because I was going to say one of Mount Barker's goals is going to be a penalty from Alessio diving. So, but just to give him a bit more stick because he's not here.
I think I'll go with a draw. A 0-0.
Three different picks.
Yeah, I reckon I'll go with a 0-0. Next up, Eastern United versus Pontian Eagles. I'll go for Eastern United.
I'm going Pontians.
At home. If it was opposite, I would have gone Pontian.
Pontians? Nah, I'm still going Pontians. They're in good form. Eastern are getting better, but I don't know if they've got enough to cater for Pontians at the moment. Pontians are in really good form, so I'm going to go with Pontians for 3-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pontian as well. Pontians scored 4 goals last week. They scored 9 goals against Mount Barker the week before, but we're not supposed to mention that. They scored 3 goals. So it's going to be a Pontian. It's going to be a Pontian win for me. And I'm going to go for a comfortable one. I'm going to go for 3-0. Pontian Eagles to win.
Modbury Vista versus Port Adelaide. I'll go for Port Adelaide here, 3-1.
You go for all the upsets in terms of where they're standing in the table there, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's trying to pick up some points. He's trying to catch us.
Yeah, see, I was doing that after the third round, and it just cost me dearly. So I'm going to play safe. I'll go for a Modbury Vista win in this one. 2-0.
I'm going for a 2-2 draw. I just think Port coming off a good win last week, Vista off the loss. I just think we might get a draw and a 2-2 draw. And Kaka to score again is my shout. He's in form at the moment, so shout out to my man there.
Noarlunga United versus Cove in a Southern Derby. I'll go for...
You don't know.
1-1.
Oh, are you going for a draw?
1-1.
Jeez, that's impressive.
I'm actually going to pick Noarlunga in this one, only because Cove are on a bit of a sugary nail, as we would say in Scotland, and they've lost a couple in a row. Noarlunga, a team that none of us really fancied at the start of the year, have won 3 of their last 4, so I'm going to go for Noarlunga in this one.
Yeah, this is not an easy one to pick, actually. I am going to go for the Cove win. I'm going to go for a Cove win, and it's going to be quite tight. I'm going to go for a 1-0 to Cove.
Gawler Eagles versus Northern Demons, the most
Derby.
Northern Derby, the most Northern Derby you can get, even though they're still quite far away. I'll go for Northern Demons 2-0.
Could you call this the Great Northern Derby? Just trying to maybe get Great Northern on for a sponsorship deal there.
Well, this team's up in Whyalla. That would be the Greater Northern Derby then, wouldn't it?
Yes,
the great and then the greater.
The great and the greater.
Yeah,
the even greater.
I'll jump in, Mark, and I'll say that I'm just going to pick Northern Demons to win this one.
Yeah, Northern Demons will win this, and I'm going to go with a 4-0.
Last one for State League 2, Seaford Rangers versus Adelaide University. I'll go for Adelaide Uni 3-0.
Adelaide Uni for me too, and comfortably so.
I'm going to go for Uni, a 2-1. It's going to be a tight 2-1. I just have a feeling that Seaford are going to hold them out well, but not enough.
Very interesting.
2-1 to Uni, I think. I might go have a look at that one, actually.
It's
just down the road.
Close by to you, yeah.
It's close. It's close by. I know a few of the uni boys, and I'm coming out of COVID, so Saturday's the first day I can actually get out, but I can at least stay away from people there. So I might just pop down and have a look at that one while I can.
On to State League 1, Round 12, Adelaide Victory versus Adelaide Blue Eagles. I'll go for Blue Eagles to bounce back 4-0.
Gee, you've ruined me there for a second. I was expecting to go for the Women's State League first.
So was I. He's ruined me too.
There is none. It's the Cup this weekend.
Cup.
It's the
Okay,
Cup.
cool.
It's Cup.
No, fair
Yeah.
enough. I'm glad you know. Good work, Seb. Well, I'm glad
Thank
you're
you.
on it. I'm glad
Seb
you're on
won,
it, that's
everyone
for sure.
else nil.
Yep. Exactly.
So what's your first one? Sorry.
Adelaide Victory versus Adelaide Blue Eagles. I'll go 4-0 to Blue Eagles.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
look,
go
it's
for Blue Eagles. Where do you go?
yeah. No, you go, Dave, because I think we're on the same train, mate.
Yeah, Blue Eagles.
Yeah, Blue Eagles. I'm actually going to go for 4-1. I think Dante's due a hat trick, and Passia John will score for victory. He hasn't scored for a few weeks, so he's due one. So, but 4-1.
Simple as Playford versus Adelaide Ammonia Cobras. I'll go for Playford at home 2-3-1.
Yeah, I'll plump for the same. Playford to win 3-0.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Playford win, but I'm actually going to go 3-2. I think Cobras will make it close, but Playford will just have enough. Cobras, yeah. I think we'll go with that one.
Sturt versus Cumberland. I'll go for a 1-1 draw at Corinna.
This is not an easy one.
No. I quite fancy Sturt, to be honest. You know, No, common sense prevails. I'll go for a draw, 1-1. Is that what you went for, Seb?
Yep, exactly what I went for.
Oh, was it the score as well?
Yeah, 1-1, yeah.
I'll go for 2-2 then.
Oh, for God's sake, I was going to do that. I was with you going 1-0. I was going to go 2-2.
I'll go 3-3.
That's all right. Nah, look, I'm with you guys. Cumberland at times can look fantastic, and then other times look really poor. They had a fantastic week. Harley Jepp scoring an absolute belter, cutting in from the right last weekend. So, but Sturt able to turn around a 2-0 deficit. So, I'm going for a draw, either a 2-2. I'll go with 2. David, do you want the 3-3 or the 2-2? And I'll go the other one.
I want 3-3.
All right, cool. I'll go the 2-2 draw then.
Fulham versus Western Strikers. I'll go for Fulham 3-0 here.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Fulham.
Fulham. I don't know if it was 3-0. I think Western Strikers will get a goal or two, but I'm going to go with Fulham 3-2.
I'm going to go for Fulham. I'm going to go for a draw, 4-4.
That's a big scoring game, that one.
It's the drunk man in the pub's coming back. Vipers FC versus Salisbury United. I'll go 4. It's tough. I will go a 3-3 for this one, actually.
Jeez.
I'm also going to go for a draw in this one.
4-4?
5-5
Oh, jeez.
Draw.
Nah, look. A draw? this is a tough one. This is a real tough one. I'm actually going to go Salisbury win. And it's going to be 2-1. I'm going to go for Salisbury on this. I think a great win last week for them. Vipers, yes, they're in form. They only lost last week, the week before actually, but they've had 4 wins in the last 5, which have really got them into effectively into a playoff contention. But I just think, I'm going to go with Salisbury on this.
Final game for State League 1, West Adelaide versus West Torrens Burkalla. This game being played at Surfers FM Stadium on the artificial pitch. I'll go for Berkala on this one, 3-1.
Gosh. I'm going to go for a draw. 6-all. I'm going to go for a draw in this one as well.
Yeah. West Adelaide 2 wins on the trot. Burke's up and down at the moment. Actually, Burke's a dual win, so I'm actually going to go for Bacala 2-1. In the fact that their form has been, they lost last week, they won the week before that, they lost the week before that, they won the week before that, they lost the week before that. So I'm assuming that they're going to win this week. And yeah, they're going to end West Adelaide's 2-game run. So I'm going to go with a Bacala 2-1 win.
Easy as that. State League 1 done. Now on to the WNPL/WSL Cup, although there are only WNPL teams left. Last night was Adelaide Uni losing to Adelaide Comets 4-3. So they'll go through to the next round with Adelaide Comets. But next up, tomorrow night, Sturt Lions versus Salisbury Inter. Of course, with their new players, I think Salisbury Inter will get through to the next round on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you, Seb. I think Salisbury Inter will have too much in the locker for Sturt.
Yes, I am afraid I agree. Well, not afraid I agree. I do agree with you, and Sturt won't be strong enough for that to win that tie.
Football SA NTC versus Adelaide City at Service FM Stadium. This one quite interesting. I reckon probably one of the most enticing ones out of the 4 games left. I'll go NTC to win 2-1 after extra time.
I'm going to go with Adelaide City to win 2-1 after extra time.
I'm going to go an Adelaide City win on penalties. That's my tip.
Very well. Metro versus West Adelaide at TK Shuttle Reserve. West Adelaide in 2 strong form for me. I'll back them to win.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one as well, Seb. West Adelaide, they're fine form, great team, good coach. I think they'll get the result there.
West Adelaide for me as well. I'm going to pick them extra time and penalties, but West Adelaide to win.
Final predictions, round 12 for the Men's National Premier League in South Australia, starting as we said, fixtures now reversing, South Adelaide versus Adelaide City. Down south, David, this will be your game. Very interesting one, once again. I'll go 2-2.
I'm going to go for an Adelaide City win in this one, just based on what they did against Adelaide Olympic. Showed that they are certainly capable, and they'll be on a bit of a high from that. South Adelaide don't look like a side that are... They look like a side, to me, that's not given up, but is conceding. Is that a polite way of saying giving up? I suppose it is. Adelaide City for me, and it'll be 3-0.
Yeah, look, I think Adelaide City are going to get the win. South Adelaide I think the last couple of weeks, up until then, all their games have been quite close. They'd only lost by a goal here and there. But at the moment, the last couple of rounds, they've lost by a couple. They lost 3-0 to Para Hills last week. So I am a little concerned that if Adelaide City continue the game from last week, then it could be trouble for Souths. But I'm going to go for Adelaide City and a 2-0 win. As much as I know JJ loves a Friday night, actually I'll make it 2-1. 2-1 Adelaide City.
Croydon FC versus Adelaide Croatia Raiders, first game under their new head coach, but I still think Adelaide Croatia will come out 3-1 winners.
Is Andre Carl back this week? Because I know he was suspended for, I think he got, did he get 1 or 2 games? I think he got more than 1 game, obviously. So, because he didn't play against FK. So I reckon Andre Carl's back this week. So I reckon it's going to be a Raiders 3-2. And Carl will obviously be on the score sheet. That's why I ask. And it'll be a lot closer than we anticipate because of the fact that he's back.
I'll go for a Croatia Raiders win as well. I don't have a scoreline, but a Croatia Raiders win.
Next up, Para Hills Knights versus Mobry Jets. I'm gutted that I'm not back home in time to cover this one because this one definitely piques my interest. Again, first game of the season, Para Hills won, and I mean, to be honest, my mind's quite blurred, but it was a good game from memory. I can't make my prediction yet. I want to go last.
All right, I'll go first. That's fine. I'm going to go with a Mobry win. And the fact that they want to turn around last week's, I wouldn't say a bad result, but not a favourable result for Mobry. I mean, they were playing Campbelltown, so it's not exactly a game they were expecting to win or draw. It would have been a battle and a tough game. So, on position, league position and things like that, the way Mobry have been playing, they've been fantastic. Not saying Para Hills haven't been, but there's a reason why Mobry's sitting top of the table. At the top of the table, so I'm going to go with Mobry, and it's going to be a 2-1 Mobry win.
I'm also going to go for a Mobry win. Para Hills Knights did have a win last week. It's their only win in the last 5 games, and it did come against the bottom side, South Adelaide. So I think it was maybe just. I think the fact that they won last week is a bit of a red herring when it comes to them facing the top side in the competition. So it's a Mobry Jets win for me, 3-0.
I'll go for. I'll go for the same scoreline and the same result as the original game, 3-2 to Para Hills at home.
To Para Hills.
Yeah.
You're in charge. It's a safe space, Seb. It's a safe space.
On to Campbelltown City versus Adelaide United. Of course, this game was played at Hindmarsh as the opening game of the season, and I think Campbelltown will get on top of Adelaide United once again, 3-0.
Do we know when Adelaide United players are going on their break?
Soon. I think it's maybe 1 or 2 games left.
Okay.
I think it's after this weekend.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, it would be because the A-League Grand Final. So yeah, this would be
Okay.
their last game, I reckon.
Yeah, because then they've got to take their 4 weeks. So that's the likes of Duzel, Panache, Ethan Cox,
Jovanovic, Yol.
Yep. So all those that have been playing, so none of them will be. So this could be their last chance to pick up some good points before they lose those players. But in saying that, I watched the first game. I was lucky enough to call that game at Cooper's at the start of the season. Campbelltown they started off really well. I'm going to go with a Campbelltown win, and I'm going to go with a 3-2.
I was at Adelaide United and Croatia Raiders at the
Adelaide
weekend.
Croatia Raiders.
Yes, it's all coming back to me now.
That's a meatloaf song, that one.
Yeah. But I wasn't impressed by them enough to think that they will get the better of Campbelltown City. So I think Campbelltown City will win this tie. Score 3-1.
Metro versus FK Beograd at TK Shutter Reserve. David, another one of your games this weekend. You're a busy man this weekend. You're covering for me.
Yeah, that's right. So you go away, and then I've got to pick up all the slack. So yeah, I'll wait this one as well. In the company of Antonis Agonis, he's agreed to join me for another game. Who's going to win this one? Look, instinctively I say Metro Stars, but does anyone else want to go first?
I'll go for a draw.
I'll go Metro Stars. Yeah, sorry.
I'll go 2-2 draw.
I'll go Metro Stars, but I think it'll be quite tight. I'll just go 2-1.
Oh yeah, look, I was leaning towards a draw. Beograd seem to be good at scoring late goals and getting themselves back into games. As long as they don't give Metro Stars too much of a head start. So yeah, I was leaning towards a draw as well, and I'm exactly with you, Seb, a 2-2 draw.
And final game for the weekend across the men's leagues: Adelaide Olympic versus Adelaide Comets. Olympic in mixed form.
Yeah, this one's being covered. I want to give Connie a shout out. Connie is jumping on the lead com this week, and he's got young Tom Briscoe with him as a co-com. So a debut for Tom Briscoe doing the comms, which is fantastic. So yeah, shout out to Connie, who I'm sure will do a great job as he usually does. But I'm not tipping just yet.
You're tipping Connie to win this one, aren't you?
Mate, any game that's Connie's on is a win, mate.
I'll go for a 4-3 Comets win.
Look, for me, you go, David.
Oh, look, I was just going to pick Comets as well. They've had 4 draws in a row, so they're not really winning games. But remember at the start of the year how good they were at the start of the year. They barely conceded. They've only conceded 9 goals even now. In fact, I look at the table and they have conceded the fewest goals in the comp still. So I don't know that Olympic are going to score against them. I think Comets will probably win this one, maybe 3-1 or maybe 3-0.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, David. I was right there. I was going to say the exact same thing. They've drawn their last 4. They've got a brilliant defence, conceding very few goals. Started off really well. They just can't turn those draws into wins at the moment. But Olympic, they've lost at Acidia this week through suspension with his red card. So it leaves a bit of a gap at the back. Whether they can fill that gap, I'm not sure. But I think that loss to City would have deflated Olympic maybe just a little bit. And Comets fighting back from 2-1 down with 10 men to get the draw against Metro will be a real confidence boost for Comets. So I'm going to go with Comets, and it's going to be 2-0. I don't think Olympic going to score with Comets' tight defence. Daniel Vaughan's been in great form this year in between the sticks. So a 2-0 win for Adelaide Comets.
Very, very interesting. That's all our predictions done, and that's pretty much it for us. Anything else to add from you two?
No, it's been quiet without Alessio, hasn't it?
I don't know. Ever since they lost 9-1, it's just in a
I've
sort
got
of
the. You're not supposed to mention it. You're not supposed to mention that they lost 9-1. Sorry. Look, just from me, the usual shout out to TJ Gloves and his new logo there looks fantastic. Which will be coming out soon. He hasn't actually officially released that yet, so that's a bit of a teaser from us here. Is that's going to be the new TJ Glove logo moving forward. So a shout out to Tassie Breeden and TJ Gloves being a sponsor for. So if you need your gloves or anything of goalkeeper ilk, be it gloves, socks, and even glove glue and glove bags, please reach out to Tassie. Or if you don't know Tassie, reach out to me and I'll happily send you his way, and he can sort you out with all your needs for goalkeepers. And and we're still looking for sponsor of the show. So if there is anyone out there, please reach out to me via socials or however you want, really, and let me know if you're willing to at least discuss the possibilities.
Absolutely, David. Your final opportunity. Anything you want to add?
There's a big FA Cup final this weekend. Massive game. There's another one down in England. I understand, but there's a massive game. So I don't know if we're doing predictions for the Scottish and English FA Cup.
I mean, do you know? We might as well. There's a few big games on this weekend, actually.
Yeah, it's just come to me.
I think there's one in Adelaide, in Australia too, isn't there? A big Australian final or something.
Don't know.
I don't know. I've been looking at the AFL too much, so I couldn't tell you what games.
Yeah, we're all footy guys. Oh, we should do some picks on the various.
No, we,
finals.
Alright.
we might as
What
well.
do All right, what have we got?
We'll A-League final. We'll start with that. We'll go in order of time. We'll start with the A-League final. Central Coast versus Melbourne Victory.
Central Coast for me. I'm not a Victorian fan. However,
Yeah, me neither.
However, I do admit that Paul Izzo has been outstanding the last 2 games. Penalty saves, making big saves when it counts. He's been phenomenal. So it'd be a shame for him to lose it. And the fact that, to be honest, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't be there. But I still don't like victories. So I'd rather Central Coast win.
I heard he might be getting picked for the next Australia squad as well, by the way.
Oh, well, well, he's been brilliant this year. And like I said, those last 2 games have been outstanding. So yeah.
So you've gone with your heart, not your head there, I think, Mark, haven't you, a little bit?
Yeah,
Maybe?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone with my heart.
I
My
think-
heart says
I
do
think-
not like Melbourne Victory.
I would like Central Coast to win, but I think Victory will win with a late goal in extra time. Is my feeling.
Yeah, I think it'll go to extra time, but I pick a victory win as well in that little game.
Next up, the English FA Cup final. Manchester City versus Manchester United.
So you are doing this in order of ascendancy then, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah, I am.
he is.
Good man.
I'm saving the big one for last.
Yes, that's it.
City for me, easily.
There are no winners in those 2. It's as simple as that. It's for me. I don't like either side. 115 charges on one side. It's United on the other. Don't like either. So to be honest, I actually, funny enough, saying that. Who is it? I think it's. I want City to win because then United won't go into the Conference League.
Oh,
So
okay.
if United win, they go into the Conference League, the European Conference League. If City win, because they're already in Europe, it goes to the next person in the league, and that is
Newcastle, I think.
Is it Newcastle?
I think
yes,
so.
it is. You're right.
Or
it's
maybe
Newcastle.
Chelsea.
No, it's Chelsea.
Unless Chelsea already have it.
Chelsea already
I think
6,
it's
so they've already got a spot.
Yeah.
So it's Newcastle. So it'd be great for I think Newcastle would be great for them to get back into Europe again. Why not? I'd rather Newcastle than United. So sorry, United supporters, but I'm an Arsenal supporter. What did you expect?
David?
So this isn't really so much of a tipping competition as it is about like a preference.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tip Manchester City to win. I can't see Manchester United getting anything out of this. As much as I'd love to see Newcastle in Europe, yes, it's a Manchester City win for me. Now, can we move on to the big one?
Yeah, now for the big one.
Big one.
The Scottish FA Cup final. If I saw correctly, it's been how many years since these two have met in the final, which I found quite surprising.
Probably about 2002, 2003
That's is it because
20
they
years.
face each other in the knockouts? Is that normally what happens?
Yeah, there's
must
a bit
be.
of that. I don't have any stats in front of me right now, but there's a bit of that. Plus, the little teams lift their game when they're playing Rangers and Celtic in the Cup because it's their chance to cause an upset. So there has been upsets in the Cup. I mean, from memory, Clyde knocked Celtic out of the Cup with Roy Keane playing for them about 2005 or thereabouts. So it's not often that Rangers and Celtic do end up in the final. They very often meet in the semi-final or the quarter-final. But yes, I think it would be 15, 20 years since they've played each other in the Cup final. I could look it up if you want. Or you're
I'm doing it now.
Well, Dave, yeah,
Okay.
You do your predictions then. Also, I found more games we can predict, by the way, so it's fine. This is fun.
I've got to be in bed by 10.
It's okay. A few more.
Yeah. I'm going to look. I'm going to go for Celtic. Have been very good this year, but I don't think they've been as good as they were when Postecoglou was there. I think their form has dipped a little bit. They haven't been as good to watch, even under Brendan Rodgers. But Rangers have, and this is a neutral ground. This is the first time they've played each other with opposing supporters in the same stadium as well, because they ban each other's fans. So there'll be a big atmosphere there as well. I think Rangers might win this, but I think it will be quite tight. I think it will go to extra time, maybe even penalties. But I think Rangers will win it. I didn't really give any reason why, but yeah.
You are good though, because 2002 was the last time the two Glasgow Giants met in a Scottish Cup final.
What was the score?
Rangers won, but I don't have the score in front of me. So and I think it was.
I prefer Celtic to win, by the way.
Yeah, Alex McLeish was the manager at the time.
Okay, yeah.
Jeez, John Hartson played in it. There you go. It's gone back. So yeah, 2002. So bloody good. That's impressive, David. I'll tell you what.
Thanks, Mark.
Very impressive.
I know more about it than I do some of the other stuff that we talk about. Sorry.
It was 3-2.
I reckon Celtic. 3-2. Well, I reckon Celtic. Celtic for me.
I'm gonna go with. Yeah, I'll go with Celtic. To be honest, I couldn't say. I'm gonna go Celtic on penalties, hopefully, because I do enjoy penalties. Do enjoy a penalty shootout. So it's where the goalkeepers become heroes.
I found two more big games this weekend.
Oh,
right.
What do you got for it?
So there is the
Invitational.
no. The championship playoff final. I mean, technically three. The championship playoff final.
Yes.
The women's Champions League final, and the AFC Champions League final.
Oh, all right. Let's quickly tip those while we can.
Okay.
Which one do you want to go first?
Women's. We'll do women's Champions League. Barcelona versus Lyon. Of course, Lyon with Ellie Carpenter. So again, probably I'd preference Lyon, but I reckon Barca would win.
Lyon are such a good team though, and have been for many years in the women's football. I'm going to go Lyon.
I'm going to go Lyon as well.
Point.
Ellie Carpenter's got another Champions League already.
I don't want Barcelona to dominate in the women's like they did the men's. It got boring when they did that. So
I think if we win, it'll be Ellie Carpenter's maybe second or third Champions League already, which is ridiculous. The AFC Champions League final. This one's actually two-legged, by the way. Harry Kewell managing Yokohama F. Marinos, and Hernan Crespo managing Al Ain, the rematch almost of that Champions League final in Istanbul between Yokohama F. Marinos 2-1 up against Al Ain going into the second leg at Al Ain. I'll go for Harry Kewell to win the Champions League.
Where are Al Ain from? Are they a Saudi team? Or?
No, United Arab Emirates.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll go for Harry Kewell's team as well, Yokohama. What was the score in the first leg, sorry?
2-1 Yokohama.
Okay.
So they're going in as favourites. Oh, no, you're right. I'm going to go with Harry Kewell's side as well. He's been written off as a coach, and this is a real opportunity for him to stick it up the people that have gone against him in the past. And I think I'm hoping if he gets this, the people start to take him seriously, because he's shown that he can manage at a good level, and I'd love him to see eventually take paths to just like our big Ange Postecoglou, who unfortunately is at a tin pot club. I didn't say that, sorry. Is at a club I don't like, but I actually do wish him well, because I do think he's a great manager. It's just a shame he went to that club and didn't go to a better one.
Well, and also this game also serves as a qualifier for the Club World Cup, which will be even bigger soon. So even bigger prize is there. And the last game, Leeds versus Southampton in the Championship playoff final on Monday morning, Sunday night, 12 a.m. Sorry, at Wembley.
The richest game in the world. This one.
Absolutely, I have been a supporter in one of these and felt severe sadness when we played against Brentford, and we had a player sent off, and Ivan Toney scored from memory. It was not a good night, because I also think I just came back from an Adelaide United game against Sydney where we lost 4-1.
Jeez,
I think as well.
Good night for it, didn't you?
Yeah, it wasn't a great time. So I don't have good memories of these playoff finals. I think Leeds will go up though.
I'm going with Leeds as well. But yeah, I think this is touted as the richest game in the world.
Yeah.
because the amount of money just from getting into the Premier League is massive. So, but yeah, I'm going with Leeds to return to the top table.
I'm in the somewhat unusual position of actually having seen one of these teams in the flesh this year. I went along to the Stadium of Light in December at Sunderland and saw Leeds playing there. It was a 1-0 win. That chap Bellingham scored with a header with about 5 minutes to go, and I missed it because I'd gone to the toilet. So I never saw the goal. But I was quite impressed with Leeds that night, albeit freezing cold and pouring with rain. I've got a little bit of a soft spot for Leeds. They used to have a lot of Scottish players playing for them in the 70s, and I've got a couple of pals down there. Yeah, right. And yeah, I know these. So I'm going to go for a Leeds win and a return to the Premier League for them. The German coach as well.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Now, are we sure we don't want to do the Albanian Categoria Superiore Championship final between Partizani and Ignatia?
We could do one. We could do one more.
Okay, who's going to win? Hold off. Okay.
Carpenter's she's lifted the trophy twice.
There you go. This will be a third Champions League, which is ridiculous.
It is crazy.
So
now onto the Albanian.
Partizani versus Ignatia. These two sides from Albania who play in the first division, first versus second. The title only decided by goal difference.
Oh, wow.
Both ended the season on 63 points, but Partizani finished first on a plus 22 goal difference. Ignatia was a plus 13.
Oh, and they're playing each other in their cup final this weekend.
In I don't know if it's the cup final. I don't know if it's like it's like their championship. So it's like how we have finals here in Australia.
Yep.
So it's not their cup final. It's their league final.
Yep.
That one at 3 a.m. on Monday.
And how did they get on when they played each other through the season, Seb?
Well, David, I'll tell you that
I'm going for Partizani.
So on 14th of April, Ignatia was at home to Partizani, and Jurgens Montenegro scored a double for Ignatia that day, but Giuliano Skuka scored in the 80th minute to get to 2-1 in the end, but Ignatia won the most recent. And then on Sunday, the 4th of February, Sebastian Spayu scored in the 59th minute for Ignatia. And then that man again, Giuliano Skuka, scored in the 90th minute equaliser to draw the game, for Partizani. So one win for Ignatia, even though Partizani... So Ignatia have the edge in this fixture.
They do.
Oh. I'm going Partizani.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Partizani.
They're going to turn it around. They're going to turn it around this one, and they're going to get the win when it matters.
Yeah. I'm on board with the Partizanis as well, and Sebastian Sugla to score in the 90th minute.
What's his name? Hang on.
Do you know what I've just worked out?
Giuliano Skuka.
Skuka. I've just worked out when the local league finishes, we need to do a podcast and just cover the most obscure leagues we can find.
Absolutely.
Simple as that.
He played for Skuka is on loan from Maribor, or is he on loan from Metz, maybe?
I just assumed he'd be from Man City because Man City owns everyone.
To be fair.
So.
There's probably a couple of guys in the Faroe Islands do a podcast on the South Australian Premier League.
I look forward to that game on Monday morning now. I have my notifications on for it. I don't know if they have a live stream for it, but if they do, we'll be sure to check out the highlights.
We'll visit this one. We'll visit it next week. I tell you what,
absolutely.
That'll be the number one chat next week.
We look forward to the Categoria Superiore Championship final between Partizani and Ignatia at 3 a.m. Monday the 27th of May. I cannot wait for that Monday morning game, and I think that's a good place to end it, boys. I'm pumped for this one already. Big game.
You got 2 more games to get through first, mate. You've got 2 big games tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
All-Stars,
Yeah,
the
those.
All-Stars against Newcastle and the All-Stars against Arsenal.
Absolutely, I know. I'm an All Stars ultra for one night only.
Ooh, one night only.
One night only. So
Where's
it should
that
be an
shirt
interesting
set
one.
you back?
Oh, listen,
You don't like it,
listen, it costs its experience. It's the experience is what it means
They
to
saw
me.
you coming. Look at
Yeah,
this big tall guy with the yellow shirt on with the Bayern Munich.
I actually bought this there at the same time, so I wasn't actually wearing it. I got quite a few compliments on my Adelaide United shirt. Actually, it's their first season NSL shirt, which I wore into there, and I didn't get heckled for it, so I was pretty happy with that. Yeah, and I was in the
Good
Melbourne
work.
Victory section of Ultra Football too. So
Of course you were.
it's everywhere. It was everywhere.
Well, enjoy the games tomorrow night, Seb. Quick shout out to my nephew who's actually in Melbourne as well. He's going to both games tomorrow night, so shout out to them. He's an Arsenal supporter. He's a good
Unfortunately,
lad. He's a good boy, and he's going to shout out for his favourite players there, which is good. And both teams have sent over some great players too, which is good to see. Newcastle and Arsenal women's have both sent relatively big squads and strong squads, which is great to at least you get to see some of those players. So
I cheered so loud when Garen Cole came on, by the way, and then when he scored the penalty, I reckon I was the only. If you look back on the broadcast, you'll just hear one lone voice absolutely going mental. Has to be.
It's brilliant.
And everyone else was confused because they didn't understand who the player was that came on.
Embarrassing.
That's a little annoying. And yes, you're probably right. Your fellow mate there, Seb, we all could hear him say that was embarrassing. Yes. So, and David, you have a great call. Two quite great calls this weekend. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Connie, if you're listening, have a great call this weekend as well, mate. Enjoy.
Good luck, Connie.
And we'll
Thank
see
you all
us
for watching. Absolutely, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon for more football, and we look forward to seeing the result of the Albanian Categoria Superiore Championship final between Partizani and Ignatia. And we'll see you then to cover it.